Hey YouTube. So I'm releasing a new book soon, here in a couple months. It's called Night of the Half Angel, which will be the first in a series of what will probably be about 6 books in the urban fantasy genre. And if you've been following my YouTube channel or Twitter, you know that this series follows a character who is half angel, and she works with the FBI to find more about her past and investigate paranormal cases. And this first book is sort of a gateway into who she is and what's going on in her universe. And actually, it's a spin-off of my Phantom Lock series, which is also set in the urban fantasy genre. So it's all in the same universe. And no, you don't have to read both series to understand what's going on in this new one. Uh, it Long story short, it's this series spawned off the idea of this character Angela Nardi, who's only supposed to appear as a side character in the first Phantom Lock book, and then wasn't going to ever appear again. But people were so in love with this character, and I was taken aback with how much positive feedback I got from this half angel character, that not only did she appear in the second Phantom Lock book, but I decided I'm going to start working on her backstory and start conjuring up a potential series. And now that is coming to fruition. And a lot of people are asking, what's going on with the angels in my urban fantasy phantom verse, if you will? So the idea of angels in this universe aren't really introduced until book 2 of Phantom Lock, and even then, it's not like covered in a big way. It's left ambiguous. There's hints and there's world building, but that's going to be pieced together through the Half Angel series. And I don't want to give away too much, but I want to sort of give people an idea of where I'm going with this. So let's talk about the stuff that's been sort of revealed and hinted at already, or things that aren't going to spoil or ruin the new book for people. Something to get people interested, but not enough to, give away too much. So, long ago, these angels have existed long before man, long before Earth has ever formed. It's based a lot in um, in Christianity faith, and there's some Greek mythology inspiration too in my works, especially concerning the angels and stuff. And I want to get something right out of the way too. This has no reflection on anybody's on my faith or how I think angels are in the real world. I I think they exist, and I don't think this is how they really are. I don't pretend to know. I just tell it this way to create a good story. I've gotten some interesting feedback on people who are really passionate about their faith, and I get that. But both positive and negative feedback. And I just want to clarify that I mean no harm. It's all in good fun. It's all to tell a good story. It's all to sort of it's a way to study how people are through fictional beings that are based on faith in the real world. And these angels go back to thousands upon thousands of years. Some of them are thousands of years old, hundreds, and there are different factions that wield different sorts of magic. And when they use magic, much like the main character Angela, they get tired, they get worn out, they age temporarily, and then it's like eventually their cells will bounce back and they'll heal. But they're able to wield magic much more fluently than Angela, because she's half human. And since they're full-blooded angels, they're a lot more powerful, and because they're more experienced with the magic, hundreds of years, like I said, they're much more equipped to handle this sort of thing. And it's there's this war that's been hinted at, and it's a war with it's this war that went on with these beings called the Elderkin and demons. And basically, the angels have always been trying to keep these dark really evil entities, these entities that only want to feed on everything, from breaking into the real world. There's, the universe that they're from that is sort of separated between our world and theirs is called is called the vast beyond, and then between that is purgatory, where the dead and other things can cross over between. But these angels come from the vast beyond, and they're parts of this world that are darker than others. And the angels basically are the gatekeepers. And at one time, all the factions worked together flawlessly, and they worked together under the creator, and let's get it out of the way, God. And God has been left ambiguous on purpose, because I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that, or if I'm going to bring him into the fold, because that's kind of an intimidating character to bring in and to find a fresh and new way to do it, because everybody has their own idea of what God is like. So after years and years of all these factions and these different types of angels, the ones that wield magic, that are more magic wielders, some are more combat based, some are smarter, some just wield magic differently, and they all have these tattoos on their arms and backs that are wings, and that's kind of how they identify with each other, and how they're born with these tattoos. They're sort of like birthmarks. And late in their history, they have this individual called Braziru, who is this archangel, and she grows tired of this war, and she goes after she goes out on this quest that sort of leads her to unlimited magic. And magic is sort of a sacred thing that there's a reason that the creator, their father, God, gave them these abilities with limits, because magic is a very powerful weapon in the wrong hand. However, Braziru, the archangel, felt at this time that the limitations of magic were doing them more harm than good, that they would eventually lose the fight with Bjelvakin and the demons because they couldn't wield unlimited magic. So she went out and somehow discovered how to wield magic without tiring, without weakening, without any limitations at all. So she becomes a very powerful being, and for a little while she was able to use magic without any limits at all. And because she's an archangel, she's even more badass. However, like some of her comrades thought would happen, this started to warp her brain, and eventually she became a problem into herself, and there was a whole war between her and her own kind, and this created a giant rift between all the angels, to where they eventually separated into factions, if you will, or groups, where, that's what war does. War can separate people, separate families, separate governments, and groups of religion. They can be separated apart, and it's just this terrible war that went on for thousands of years. And this person who had good intentions at first eventually became corrupted by these abilities, and that sort of is where the world is at now. That's why all these supernatural beings are showing up on Earth, is because this war has been going on for so long, and the angels can't keep up because they're all separated. And because of Braziru's actions, the lines between reality and the vast beyond and purgatory they're becoming thinner. That's where the lines are becoming thinner. It's sort of come from. I've been using that as a tagline for my urban fantasy series since the very beginning, and nobody's known what the hell that means, and it's sort of a reference to that. That's why all these physical and nasty beings are starting to show up, and it's people like Angela Nardi and Kurt who are sort of answering the call to this. And Angela Nardi is finding out very quickly that her people aren't exactly perfect, and that's why I wanted to show them in a real light too. That the Angels have had to make some tough choices in the past couple hundred years to just keep those lines that are barely holding together, you know, safe, so that way they, it's sort of the mentality that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one or the few. It's that mentality that has sort of taken these people over, and it's also sort of one of those things where you also hear the expression, "Don't meet your heroes," because they don't always meet your expectations either. And that's kind of where we're at this point in the first Half Angel series, and Night of the Half Angel. That's where we are at. It's at the point where the Angels are struggling to keep these evil entities at bay, and they're crossing over. And Preziro is still causing problems too. She has this warped sense and anger towards her siblings, her brothers, and these all the other angels, because she feels like their vision for how to solve the war is wrong, and that unlimited magic is the key to solving everything. And she's an important character in the series and in the Phantom Lock verse, and will continue to be important in other ways too, both directly and indirectly. So I think I want to follow in the steps of every villain is the hero of their own story. It's to me, it was an interesting way to explore how war and conflicts affect people again. And so that's sort of what's going on with the Angels in my books. That's sort of what's going up till now, and I don't think that spoils too much. This is sort of this video is sort of a companion piece to the Night of the Half Angel series, and who knows, maybe I'll even write a small history thing. There's so much history I could do, and that's crazy about all this is creating stuff, is even when I'm done with the Half Angel series, or while I'm writing it, I could write other books about the Angel Wars between the Elderkin and the demons, and maybe even a book about Preziro herself before she got corrupted by the use of unlimited magic. It's crazy. I mean, it's just like the Dune series. It started out with 6 books, and then Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert were able to pick up the torch, 15 or 20 years later, and write 14 more books. It's crazy. And so, comment below. Are you writing a series right now? What's your favorite thing about writing a series? What's your favorite thing about world building? If you haven't read the Phantom Lock series, you don't have to read those to enjoy the Night of the Half Angel or any of the other installments. However, they're going to be they're going to continue to be 2 separate entities. There might be references here and there to each other, but if you're one of those people that watched Angel but not Buffy, or vice versa, and you enjoyed one show, you're going to be just fine. Or for a more modern reference, if you watch The Flash but not Arrow, you're going to be fine. There's going to be nods to each world here and there, but they're going to be their own contained thing. And who knows? There might be crossovers. It's hard to tell what I'm going to do now. It's a lot of exciting stuff coming. I'm really excited to reveal the cover. And again, comment below if you're an author, writing anything. Tell me what you're writing about. I'd love to talk urban fantasy with anybody. How does your faith reflect upon your writing, or how do you think faith is reflected throughout other people's works? As always, thanks for watching. Bye.